Hi, this is Barry here, and you are very welcome to day 4 of the Digital Creator Kickstart Challenge. Now, first of all, I want to thank you. That's right. I want to thank you. I want to thank you for showing up today, because I've put a lot of effort into this challenge, and what I found over the years is that a lot of people are talkers and not actually doers. You know, a lot of people say, oh, I want to make money online. I want to create digital products. I want to do this. I want to do that. I want to do the other. And then when it comes to them actually taking action, very few people do. You know, what I found over the years is when I do challenges like these, I find a lot of people will show up on day 1. And then as the week goes on, you find more and more people dropping out. And sometimes you might find only maybe a handful of people actually go through the challenge, and even less actually take action on the knowledge that they've been given. So the fact that you showed up over this past 4 days says a lot about you. So it really makes the effort I'm putting in here right now really worth my while, because at the end of the day, I want you to create your first digital product. You know, I'm trying to give you as much free information. I'm trying to build up the self-belief in yourself, and if you take action on this, it's really going to make my day. So if you want to make my day, please create your first digital product. Now, in this video, we are just going to go back over some of the things we talked about yesterday, because I know some people might be a little bit overwhelmed. They're probably going to be taking steps they've never taken before. And when you get outside your comfort zone, or when you do something that seems a little bit confusing, your brain straight away says, stop, you can't do this. This is too complicated. Other people can do it, but you can't do it. So what I want to do in this video is I want to give you an extra nudge, a little bit of extra self-belief in yourself that yes, you can create a digital product. So what I want to do in this video is, again, go back to what we talked about yesterday, our person, our problem, and our solution. So taking them one at a time, we will just talk about the person that you're trying to help. Now, why should you focus on only one person? Now, the first thing is that it's easier to know what to talk about. You know, you'll be creating content for them, and you're going after a small group of people, so it's easier to stand out. So maybe to explain it a little bit better, if you imagine that I have a blog, and it's a dog blog. Now, right now, because I have a dog blog, I can write about all different breeds of dogs. I can write about collies, Labradors, Dobermans, German Shepherds. I can write about all those different dogs. Now, what I can also do is I can write content for kids, teenagers, adults, single people, people with kids, people who are married, people who are elderly. And I'm sure you can see, one, I've got so many, things I can do, so many things I can talk about. It's very easy to get overwhelmed. But if I maybe kind of narrow down my focus, it's going to make me things a lot easier for me. So what I'm thinking of doing is, I'm not going to just write a dog blog. I'm going to write a blog on people who own or would like to own border collies. So what I've done is I have taken this big, huge audience that was out there, and I've narrowed it down to people who have border collies. Now, again, going back to the content I could create today, I could create articles for kids on the topic of border collies. I could do it for teenagers, adults, single people, people with kids, elderly people. Again, there's a lot of people I can write for. So if I had a blog, it would, be very confusing. Like, do I write an article on Monday for kids? Do I write an article on Tuesday for teenagers? Do I write an article on Wednesday for grown-ups? What do I write about? Again, I'm going to be overwhelmed because there's so many different options that I can do. And what I do is I decide, well, something, I'm going to narrow my focus down a little bit more. And what I'm going to do is I am going to write on border collies, but I'm going to focus on elderly people. Now, I'm sure you can see, because I have focused my audience down to a narrower group of people, it makes my content a lot easier. Because when I show up today and I write a blog post, I know who my audience is. I am going to be writing articles for elderly people. And because I know my audience, I'm going to know what problems they have. And if I am, I have a blog that's on border collies, written for elderly people, suddenly my blog is very niche. And because I'm speaking to a small group of people, It's very easy for me to get well known in that niche, that when people say, oh, if you're looking for a blog, for elderly people on border collies, go over and read Barry's blog because it's really popular. Everybody's talking about it over there. Now, sometimes we feel that because we kind of, narrow down into a small group of people, we're missing out on everyone else. Now, you're going to find that if I was creating articles for elderly people, I could probably find older people, people maybe who've got kids who will probably read my blog as well too. But by me focusing it down to a narrower group of people, it makes it a lot easier for me. And that's why I want you to focus on only one type of person. Again, if you may be a little bit confused, think about that for a minute. Is it children you're going to be writing to? Is it going to be teenagers, adults, people with kids, married, single? What are they? And just write down the type of person that you are trying to write toward. And then by knowing the type of person you're going to write toward, you're going to say to yourself, well, I know the type of content I should be creating. I know the type of problem that I should be doing. Again, if you go back to this challenge, it makes it a lot easier for me to create a challenge on this topic, because what I've done is I have selected the type of person I want to help. And you are the type of person that I want to help. Someone who wants to create a digital product. Now, I know because you have never done this before, I need to create this content with a beginner in mind, where I'm taking you from having no knowledge, no self-belief, up to a point of actually creating your digital product. Now, if I was going to do a challenge for more advanced people, you would find the content in this challenge would be far, far different. But because I know who I'm speaking to, it makes it a lot easier for me to, know what to talk about, know what to bring up in these slides. So that's what, if you are, as I said, a little bit confused about who you should be focusing on, just think about that. Think about that dog blog and how, as you narrow it down to a smaller and smaller and smaller group of people, it makes it a lot easier. Again, I could even take that elderly audience that I write content for on border collies, and I could say, well, I'm only going to maybe create content for widowers, people who maybe have lost their spouse, people maybe who are elderly, who maybe don't have a family living nearby, and they're the only person that takes care of the dog. Or maybe somebody who's elderly who is just maybe has mobility issues. The content that I will create for someone who's elderly, who's got mobility issues, is going to be really, really easy, because I know the exact problems they have every day when they get out of bed and what challenges they're going to have with their dog. So again, by going really, really, really narrow, it makes it easier for me to know who I'm talking to, what problem should I be solving. And as I said, once you go after a small group of people, it makes it that you can get well known in that group, and then you can expand from there. Now, you're probably thinking, well, the problem and the solution. Well, I think in the previous slide here, I've covered it already. But the reason you should focus on only one problem and one solution is because it's a lot easier for you to make. If I asked you to create a digital product with 10 different problems and 10 different solutions, you're going to get overwhelmed. And you're going to find that it might take you maybe weeks or maybe months to put all that content together. But if you only solve one problem with one solution, it makes it easier for you. It's a great way to test out ideas, because what you can do is you can create a couple of PDF documents or a couple of small digital courses, and then if you see one that takes off, well, then you need to go in that direction, because that is what your audience is looking for. And then you can find similar topics around that one that did well, and then you'll start making more and more money, because that is what your customers are looking for. And again, you're not going to overwhelm your customer. And if I gave my customer a PDF that has 10 different problems and 10 different solutions, I know for a fact they're not going to take action on all of them. They might maybe take action on one or two problems, and they're going to neglect the rest. And because they're going to be overwhelmed, they're going to be disappointed in the program. They're probably not going to take action on the content I give them. So I'm going to be wasting my time, and I'm going to be wasting their time and their money. So by me actually focusing on one problem with one solution, I'm going to take them from A to B as quickly as possible. So I want you to think about your solution. Now, if you haven't plotted out already, what I want you to do is I want you to think about what is the shortest path to overcoming their problems. Now, you don't need to be an expert. Forget about this notion of, I need to be an expert, I need to be this. You need to provide results. You need to take your person from point A to point B. And you also need to know that it works. Now, maybe to explain or to get this notion out of your head that you don't need to be an expert, I want to tell you a little bit of a story. And this was going back a couple of years, where just before Christmas, our TV, for some reason, started to go on the blink. Now what it was doing was it was turning on and turning off on its own. I thought there was something wrong with the remote control, but I found out that there was something actually wrong with the TV, in that there was some cheap part that the company had put in the TV and that it broke down over time, and that I'd need to get a new TV. Now, I don't know about you, but buying a TV just before Christmas didn't seem like an attractive thing to do. So what I did was, like most of us do, I went to the internet. And what I did was I went into YouTube, I just typed in the model of my TV, and I just typed in a little kind of summary of my problem. Now, I found a video on YouTube, and this was a man who said that you could actually fix the problem by getting a hairdryer and by getting a piece of cardboard. And then what you simply did was you just simply held the cardboard behind the TV, and then what you did was you just simply just blasted some hot air in the cardboard into the vents in the TV and actually warmed the TV up. And then what happened then was, once the TV was warmed up, once you clicked the power button on your remote, the TV came on, and magic, it stayed on. So this person in this video took me from having a broken TV to now having a TV that I could watch. Now, at no point did I go to, the description of the video and wonder, well, is this person a TV expert? Are they a TV technician? Do they have any letters after their name? Do they know what they're talking about? I didn't care about that at all, because what this person gave me was the information that took me from A to B, where I had a broken TV and now I had a fixed TV. And he knew that that solution worked. And by me testing it out and actually using it, I seen that it worked. So hopefully that has kind of broken down this idea of being an expert. People don't care if you're an expert or not. If you can give them the information, if you can solve their problem, if you know that the solution you have works, well, then that is all they are looking for. And you're going to find that when you actually create digital products that actually solve problems, and you know that they solve problems, you are going to have no problem promoting that product. You're going to have no problem going on social media and saying, by the way, have you got this problem? I can solve it for you now, because you know that it works. I think sometimes when we create digital products, and a lot of the digital products online, to tell you the truth, don't solve problems. And when you don't actually believe in what you're selling, it makes it really, really hard to sell. And you shouldn't really be actually selling anything you don't really believe in. But by you actually believing in what you make, you are going to find it a lot easier to convince people to buy your product, because they're going to sense it off you. They're going to say, this person really knows, or seems to know that, they can solve my problem. Well, maybe I'll give them a go. Maybe I'll buy their product because they are convinced that they can help me. So be aware of that. You don't need to be an expert. They just want you to take them from A to B, and they want to know that when they follow your steps, that they are actually going to have that problem solved. Their TV is going to be fixed, and that's it. So again, what we're going to do is we're going to take action. If you have been maybe pushing it off or putting it off, I want you to take action, because basically you are going to get paid for what you do, not for what you say you're going to do. You have the talkers and then you have the walkers. The talkers never get paid. It's the people who walk, it's the people who take action. Those are the people who get paid. And right now people are actually desperate for your advice. At the time I was desperate for somebody to help me with my TV over Christmas, because as I said, it was frustrating. I didn't want the expense of buying a TV before Christmas. I wanted to wait until January. So people will be desperate for your advice. So don't think that, just because you're an expert that you're just going to, no one's going to be interested. As I said, people are desperate for solutions to problems. That's why people are going to the internet every day, typing into words into YouTube and into Google, because they want solutions to their problems. And stop thinking about you. Put yourself in your customer's shoes. As I'm creating this video, I could be so paranoid about what you're thinking about me, how I sound, what I'm saying. But I'm not focused on that. I'm focused on you right now. I'm focused on giving you the best information that I can. And because I'm focusing on you, it makes this job a lot easier for me to do. So you might say to yourself, well, something, I'm nothing special. Something? I'm nothing special. We all kind of put ourselves down, and we believe that everyone else is better than us. But everyone else isn't better than us. The people who get ahead in life are the people who take action. So take action, and I'll see you in the next video. Have a lovely day. Bye-bye.